Hey, Jamie and Andy, what was your Thursday like?
Hey Scott, not bad, not bad. Hey Jamie, how are you?
Hanging in there, Andy. What's going on? At least it was an
Yeah,
orderly decline.
yeah. Well, let's see what happens. I actually got a lot of thoughts on this tape, and I think I even mentioned to you this morning before this action even started. But anyway, we'll elaborate more on that, and let's dive in. Thanks. This is the Trading Studio, and my name is Andy. That's Jamie. Got trade ideas, but before we do, I do want to go. We are a content publisher. This is We'll be examining some different windows today with the symbols in them. These are not broker or RI, but they're a little intimidated. Don't be, okay, because we have tons of support and education and training available at your disposal immediately. Okay, I'm going to go over a few items here on the page. He's a great moderator. I don't know how he does it for as long as he's done it. I used to do this gig, and for you to ask questions, and he loves helping people in there. So don't be afraid to ask. Available to everybody. You do not have to have a subscription to Trade Ideas to join the Traders Room. Okay, it's free for everyone. We have webinars Monday through Thursday in the same time slot. Okay. It's going to be juggled by myself, Jamie, or Steve, paired up in twos on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And on Wednesday, you get our CEO, Dan MIRKIN, and our CTO, Brad Williams, provide some great insight on new features coming around the corner. And they'll also talk about, they'll take Q&A for any questions that you might have. So, and the support webinar that you see at the bottom there, this is every Monday through Friday at 12 Eastern time. Okay, basically we open up a GoToWebinar so you can see our screen and you fire away at questions, and this is done on live stream, YouTube live stream. It's great for them. People are loving it, the ones that do come in there. I wish more people would come in there because it's a place to learn. Okay, all right, let's talk about simulated trading real quick, because we have more and more. Jamie's always on top of the back office and looking at all the simulated trading that's coming through there. It's growing and people are being wise, and I can't think of a better time, guys, right now in this market. Jamie and I both been trading, well over 23 to 25 years apiece, and we know how difficult it can be trading when the tape gets like it is. So if you're new, or even if you've only been at it a few months or even a few years, you haven't experienced a lot of bear price action. Even though I'm not saying we're in a bear market, this is bearish price action. Okay, so it can be very similar, and it can be very difficult, and it can blow up accounts. I've seen it way too much. So take advantage of the simulated trading. Okay, do it with zero cost. Okay, and there's no broker connection required. You do not need a funding account. You just get in there and start working on your trading. All right, the agenda for today, we're going to do the market recap. I'm going to have a lot of insight on that. And then the Holly recap. When you get in a tape like this, it can have its toll on any strategy you're trying to deploy. So not a lot to talk about on Holly today. I'm sure Jamie always finds a little insight in there, but I will forgive him if he only keeps the screen for a couple of minutes and hands it back, because I know how tough it can be.
Yeah, I mean, we can only comment on what has happened, and well, we'll get to it here in just a second.
There you go. All right, since we did not have a Trade of the Week webinar on Tuesday, I'm going to talk about the Trade of the Week, since I actually gave this one to Steve. We always kind of get together on it, and I noticed the relative strength in this one. So I have a lot to talk about on PLCE, which is still holding up well in an ugly tape. And then we're going to talk about, I think it was last week, we marked up some stocks looking for opportunity, and I went through some of them this afternoon, and some of them did very well. Some of them didn't. I think overall it was definitely a nice P&L on if you marked up all those and looked at the price alerts and see which ones are up and which ones are down. But I'm sure I didn't look at it at the close today, but I'm sure a lot of those were erased, but I still saw some very good opportunity on some of those one stocks that got slammed. We may be seeing it again here soon. And then you maybe have to ask yourself, you know, do I want to be jumping in front of this freight train when they're coming in? So today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to be looking at stocks that are holding up well, okay? Obviously, ugly tape today. We're going to look at stocks that are above their major moving averages. That's going to be the 10, 20, 50, and 200 on the daily chart. And then I have actually an A window that's built for this. And then we're going to do a nice little practice here of converting an A window to a T window, okay? Because sometimes if you're looking for opportunity in the evenings, you just want to get in here and look at some scans and look at some data. It's easier to do in a top list than it is an A window. So we're going to convert it to a T window, and that'll be a good little practice and kind of fun. Then we may set some price alerts. I may just give you some ideas. I don't know if I'm going to share it, but I'll just probably give you some ideas. All right, so let's back out. Let me get me a swig of water, and then we will dive into the market recap here. Fire up the old Epic pen, and we'll put her on SPYs. And we'll also take a look at the Qs today. So first off, the SPYs. All right, guys, we had a pretty major sell-off. Right here, right here, right here. Didn't touch the 50 moving average. Maybe that's the key. Maybe the SPYs want to touch the moving average. Maybe we'll see that tomorrow. We drive down at the open to the 50 moving average, and then some buyers step in, and maybe it will turn around. I don't like seeing this type of action. As soon as you sell off, not sure what it was in the SPYs. I think Qs were close to 10%. So I'm not going to add this up real quick, but you guys can just kind of eyeball it and get a good feel. Nonetheless, it was a pretty, substantial decline. And we basically had one up day on a gap up. Okay, pretty big gap up this day, and today we ran right into the 20 and just rolled right back over. So this is telling me in the short term, sellers have the upper hand. Okay, they do. And I'm going to mention what I in Slack, what I told some of the other guys that we trade a fund with. I said today, and this was when the market was close to highs. It was, up here. I think it was within the first hour. I said, guys, I don't like what I'm seeing. I can tell by some of the longs that a couple of the longs that I jumped in on that dip, just not seeing the price action. Just felt like there were a lot of sellers still in the market, and seeing this in a lot of stocks. The Apples, the leaders. Apple today. I mean, very little bounce off at all, and Facebook, rolled over really quickly, went to lows, took out that low from the other day. So you're seeing a lot of the leaders. There was just, I had the feeling early on that, man, there's still sellers in this market, and it obviously hasn't changed because we pretty much closed on lows. And the reason I'm telling you this, guys, because I know how difficult it can be when you've been trading this tape, and I talked about this the other day, when you've been trading this tape, and I could go back for years and draw this line. And then when you do get these declines, if there's more than just a 3-day sell-off and a bounce like we've been seeing a lot of time over the last 12 years, and they're followed up with more selling and possibly driving down all the way to the 200, wouldn't surprise me at all. It's hard for people to adjust because you're accustomed to buying the dips. You're accustomed to playing things to the long side. I'm not saying you have to be a short seller, but maybe it's time for some of you just to back away, because I know how difficult it is. That's kind of what I've been doing. I think since this decline started right here, I think I've made 2 little trades. As a matter of fact, I told the guys, Michael's made a comment today. He's like, guys, yesterday, where's everybody been? I'm the only one in here trading. And I just told him, I said, you know what? If you're accustomed to playing the long side on day trading, you're going to find that the price action is a lot different than what you see when the tape is lower left to upper right. Stocks don't run as long as they used to. You get a lot more head fakes. So it could be no matter what time frame you're trading, you know, when you get in this nasty tape like this, it can be different. And so you have to learn to adapt, pull back your size. You've heard, guys that's been around here for a while, you've heard this over and over. All right, so what may happen? All right, well, before I do that, let's take a look at the cues. And pardon me for spending time on the market recap as much as I am today, but I think it's really important when you start getting action like this. And boy, I could draw a very important pivot line right here, okay, which we may have a date with. You see, you got a couple. Some people may want to push it up higher at these two highs, but I would probably put it closer to these kind of. I know it's a big decline, but just like I was pointing out in the SPYs, we break the 50 and we take out this low from the other day, and you factor in all the volume that we've seen. Look at these volume bars on these 3 days. Look at the up bar. Not as much, half the volume on this little up move, and then we turned around right here with a little more volume. So if we do break this level in that 50 and the volume comes in, yeah, we can go down to this level real quickly in a day or two. So we'll see what happens. I'm not going to try to put any kind of fundamental reasons behind it. You know, could be we have a very important election coming up here in a couple of months that people had some nice profits over the last several years. So you know what, I'm gonna kind of bow out for a couple of months, whatever reason. The sellers are kind of have the upper hand here in the last week. All right, we'll see what happens. And going back to the SPYs, this, you know, once again, you got your 50 right here, which is kind of, it's not really a big, it's just below. You know, I think your pivot level is probably closer to, you know, if I married it up in the Qs, probably down here. We could probably meet up with 200 is well below that. Maybe we come down, test these lows at 320 level, but this is all assuming that we break the 50. Okay, if we break the 50, I'm just trying to find levels where we might find, I guess you have a nice little ledge right there, would be a pivot level. But nonetheless, it's not good if we break the 50 with volume. Okay, we could see more pain, you know, so I think you have to be careful, you know, if you're bidding in, looking for opportunity, because, hey, you may be able to get a much better price than what you're getting. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. And he says, what you are doing is much appreciated. Thank you. Well, we have a little experience. When you've been trading for 23 years and you've been through two vicious bear markets, yeah, you're just kind of on the lookout because it can, you know, it can get ugly. And I think anybody who's been trading in the last couple of years would have seen some of that ugliness. Obviously, last December got really ugly. So maybe we might see that again. It wouldn't surprise me. Anytime you've had a run up like we've had, 20% move, 25%, no, that's nothing really. All right, Jamie, anything you want to add? I'm not going to go over the IWM or the Dow. I did those things, just really don't.
No, and that's you know, you spent some good time on this because obviously it's very important what's happening in the overall markets, and you know that is one of the things that a lot of people, especially when you're a new trader, you know, you just want to be in the action, but sometimes inaction is the best action. So you might not be a big short seller, but there's nothing wrong with waiting for the smoke to clear either before jumping back in. So it's going to be interesting. As we all know, tomorrow's Friday. You know,
yeah.
It used to just be, hey, you know, we're going to take it up to highs and take it sideways into the close. But, you know, Fridays aren't the Fridays of yesterday either, especially with all the macro stuff we got circulating around out there. And, you know, look at how quickly we rebounded from the quote unquote crash. I mean, the market's just primed for volatility right now. So, you know, we'll see what happens, see if that 50 period holds.
Yeah, that's a key level, and obviously the Qs are pretty much there, but so we're seeing a little bit more weakness in the Qs there. They bounced off it today. We'll see what happens, but definitely an ugly tape today. See if there's any follow through tomorrow. All right, you want to take it over and try to make any sense? All right.
you should have even a statistically perfect model. Check out the toolbar over here. Whatever we put as our risk, whether order entry, whether it's shares, dollar amount, or risk-based stop, hopefully, Andy, we're going to have an option in the future to reflect the same numbers that we see up here. Maybe a toggle switch is what I'm thinking. If you want to view it in 100 shares, that'd be great. But having the option to have these numbers reflect what we see down here, I think would be a good addition to the product. Take a little bit of the confusion away. Okay, so having said that, typically what I like to go over with the Holly trades are some of the trades which presented some decent conservative and moderate spread. However, today, it's pretty much non-existent with the exception of this trade right here, ASMB. So let's just talk about that one first real quick here. And here we're short, no big surprise there, considering market action. But boy, that was a beautiful little entry right up there. I mean, that's pretty much a top tick right there, knocking on resistance, the strategy that produced that trade. And we can see the entry price of 18.28 up there because the time to exit expired. And you might be saying, well, what was the time to exit? Well, knocking on resistance and knocking on resistance down here. That was a 60-minute hold time. So not a profit save, not a reduced risk, just timed out. So the AI just did what it's programmed to do. It closed the trade out. Now, when we're watching this in real time, we can either go with that recommendation of an exit with Holly, or we can say, you know what, I think there might be a little bit more left in this one. So literally all we had to do was stay in the trade, take a little bit more risk, and if you would have held this one to the close, you would have ended up making about double what Holly made in conservative mode, taking a little bit more risk in moderate mode, and that is of the close at 17.58. So keep in mind, another maybe 30 some odd cents on the table there, which would have even bolstered this example of attempting to capture some of this conservative versus moderate spread here. And I know we have probably a good handful of people that are new on here. I just want to take a moment between conservative and moderate mode. And conservative mode, the reason for the conservative exit over here is always going to be listed in the exit reason, conservative exit reason. And there are 5 reasons why the AI will, the 3 basic ones: a stop loss was triggered, profit target was hit, or the timed hold expired. And then the 2 audibles in the form of profit save and reduced risk. Obviously, we didn't see any reduced risk over here today, but out of 9 trades, this is a high ratio of stops being hit here. 5 out of 9 stopped out, and that's amongst even some short trades in there, which you think, well, wonder why the short trades didn't work today, all right? So we had an equal, equal amount of stop outs between longs and shorts, and as Andy was saying earlier in the day, I think I'm just going to back off here, be very conservative, and only, trade what I think are the most A+ setups, because there's a lot of uncertainty at these levels. There we were just at all-time highs. Now we're starting to peel back a little bit, and it's not easy navigating in this market. And that's exactly what the AI is telling us. In the statistical world, and after all the heavy lifting that Holly does on a nightly basis, millions of scans, even a program such as this is having a hard time finding alpha in these market conditions, right, that we've had as of late. So doesn't matter if you're a statist, both. It's a little bit difficult out there right now. Okay, so the other example, and this was kind of a contrarian play, this STSA, huge gap down, right? Stock closed at, what do we got there, 23.34. Opened up this morning at $4.80, and of course, this is a biotech stock. Let me get my single stock window over here. And as you may or may not know, some of the craziest, fiercest gap ups and gap downs come from pharmaceutical and biotech stocks. Simple bad review. I think this one had some bad news on a drug that came out, and there you go. Cuts by what? Almost a, what do we say again? 75% haircut, roughly speaking, from 23 and change down to 5, basically. Yeah. And so Holly spits out a short on this one, pretty close to the open, about 8 minutes in. So we're looking at 15-minute candles here. If we did go to a smaller time frame here, we can see that first 5-minute candle. Boy, she just jumps right in there and calls the short. What do we get after that? We just get this little sideways chop action. It was a pretty tight stop, so it got hit pretty quick. But when I see something like this, and the only reason I was, STSA was brought to my attention was because I saw Holly get stopped out of it, right? At which point in time you could easily, expand out here and go, man, that's a tight little range. That's a huge gap. AI already got stopped out before I could even examine anything. So if it breaks this little range here, hey, low risk, might take a pop at a little bit of that gap covering, which it did cover a little bit. So, a lot of the times in these types of markets, when you see the AI get stopped out, sometimes you can put on a contrarian trade. They don't always look like this, but when you see something like this, well, why not take a stab at it? The short didn't work already, breaks this little range right here, nice and tight. You could have put a long on right here with some very minimal risk, and it took a nice little leg up, took a little breather before eventually getting on up there to 927, from a $5.40 level. Some great profit potential in there. Sellers came back, got control, and closed it pretty close to lows. Up grinding action in the STSA, even though it is a contrarian play. That's why you should always analyze each and every time you see the AI getting out and just check out recuperated a little bit, like the DPHC here. But in the end, nothing really to write home about. None of the quality as far as what we saw in the ASMB, just holding, and the STSA, little contrarian play only because it was so nice and tight down there. Anything else to add, Andy, before I kick it back over to you?
No, I think it's all good.
All righty.
All right, let me take this chart back. All right, this is going to be fun today. So a lot of times what I'll do, I mentioned last week how I may look for stocks that were strong and looking for opportunity to buy on weakness. And well, there were a couple of really good ones of price alerts. Definitely some bounces off key levels for a bit. RGEN, I think, was a decent one. You see the green bar down there, that was an alert. It's definitely had some nice bounces. I thought the prettiest one was this CrowdStrike. This one came all the way there, was our alert down there, boom, and it's still holding up well. So and this is why I say, guys, when you start seeing this action come in and people getting nervous, this is where you can come in and set your price alerts based upon what we did last week, just using our composite rating. Stocks that were strong, showing weakness, just marking them up. And a lot of these were holding up a lot better before today. So there was definitely some opportunity for some two-day moves in these things for sure. But we're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to look for stocks instead of what was strong. Okay, we're going to look at what is strong currently, even in this tape. Okay, so I have a alert that I built. This is probably a couple of years ago. I'm sorry. It's called Above All Major Averages. All right, I'm not going to do the swing one. That's one I've optimized. We're going to use this one when we get more data. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take this and we are going to load it. All right, and you're going to see these are stocks that I set up that are hitting highs on the day. Okay, it's an A window. I go into configuration. It means there's an alert involved, and you can see it's a new high. Okay, and then here are my filters. Basically, what I'm looking for are stocks that are above all their major moving averages: 20, the 10, the 20, the 50, the 200. But what I thought I'd do is let's convert this. I'm going to show you the collaboration tool, and we're going to convert this into a top list. Okay, so we can do like evening scans. Okay, we can find stocks that are holding up very well in a bearish tape like we're seeing right now, and maybe we can find some opportunity. Now, I'm not going to clear all my price alerts out because I already have some set. So what we're going to do today is I'll just kind of show you areas where I think may be good opportunities. You can always mark them up if you want to, put price alerts, or you may just want to pass on them. It's up to you. If it meets your eye, you can do it. If not, and so be it. So here's the way you would do it. Okay, we take this A window and we use our collaboration tool. We go to collaborate. Okay, and we're going to copy all. So we're copying the code for this. Then we're going to go up here to a T window, a T top list. That's kind of like a scan. And we are going to just go ahead and load it because we're going to change everything in it anyway. All right. I have my default as my sector analysis. That's fine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to right click in this window and go to collaborate again. And we're going to paste all. All right. Now we just converted this A window, this above all major SMAs, into a T window. Excuse me while I get another drink of water, please. All right. So let's take a look at the configuration. Now we don't have an alert in there. It's all filters. So we got tons of data. This is great for us to do our nightly scan. So what I'm going to do is we're going to right click and look at the configurations because I'm going to change a few things up that I would like to see in a scan that I may not have in an A window. Remember over here, we're looking for new highs. So we may want it to be in certain formation on the daily chart that I don't really care to see in this window. So what I'm going to do is go to configure and we're going to look and see what we'll change up here. Okay, I did this before we had the 10-day SMA, so I'm going to replace this change from 8-day SMA because I like the 10, and I am going to change from 10 SMA and put 0.01. If I'm putting 0.01 as a minimum, that's pretty straightforward. We can click on our show me button and let's just do it on this one. And you can see the price is elite 0.01% above the 20-day, in this case, the 20-day SMA, which is going to be the same for every case, the 200, the 50, and the 10-period moving average that I did down here. All right, so we know the stock is above all of its major SMAs. That's good. That's bullish, especially if they're ones that are appearing in this tape. All right, I'm going to crank this volume up to 500,000. I think I had this set for 300. I like stocks that at least do 500,000 shares a day. I really prefer 1 million, but that's okay. We're going to, some of you guys will probably trade some thinner stocks, so we're going to keep it at 500,000. Position in year range, I'm going to leave that because I do want the stock to be somewhat strong, not just above its major, major moving average on the lower end of its year. Just I want some constructive chart patterns here. And let's see if there's anything else I need to set up differently. Position in year range. Position in 20-day range. I don't need this since it's above all its moving average. I probably did that for the new high alert. I do not need to see it above yesterday's previous high, and I do not need to see any volume coming in. That's only if I was playing it in the A window. All right, so I think this has gotten to be pretty sweet here. I think this is going to show us some really impressive charts in a very ugly tape. So let's go ahead and add some columns. All right, we had some columns that moved over from that alert. I'm going to take out this one and put the 10-day. Change from 10-day SMA. Change from close. I definitely want that. And let's see what else I want. You know what? It's not, I don't see it, but I'm going to put score. I want to see the score. How strong, strong are these stocks on a stock composite rating? So we're not going to add filter. We're going to show column. It's automatically going to put it over there for us. I think this is ready. So let's fire it away. Let's give it a name. Let's see. Let's do TL for top list. Above all major SMAs for top list. All right, let's expand out some of these columns so you guys can get a good idea of what's going on here and see really good. Change from close right there. And we'll put 10-day, we'll align these in order from 10-day to 20-day so you can move all these columns around, put them where you want to. I like relative volume next to change from the close. This is forming just nicely here. All right, that looks good. Now, here you have it. Now, what are you going to do with it? Okay, so Here's the way I would play something like this. Okay, first thing I want to do is I want to sort from change from the close. That's the beautiful thing about not using a lot of filters and using columns. Okay, so we can see which stocks are really strong today in a very bad tape. Agent had a beautiful little blip breakout today. It was coming through a lot of alerts I saw. Well, that one is performing well. So we can go through each one of these. Okay, and what I would do if I'm looking at this market and I'm thinking, you know what, there could be more selling coming on. Okay, I'm going to catch some of these stocks, not these ones. I'm probably not interested in these ones that have just huge gap ups. I would like to see some sort of formation after the gap up. So I'm not going to I probably wouldn't mark a lot of those up. This is one that is just, oh, and Jamie, remind me to go over the TOW. I'm always bad about that, the TOW. I definitely want to talk about that.
Gotcha.
I do that every time when I do Steve's webinar for him. I forget to talk about the TOW. The name of the webinar. Look at that one. That's just a monster. Okay, if I'm looking at this and Tupperware and I'm seeing this movement, I'm thinking, gosh, what a lot of strength in that one. I would love to see this come back to the 10-period moving average. So what I would do, and once again, guys, if you want to do this on your own. You know, I would definitely try to kind of meet an area if there is a pullback where I might be interested to buy this, and I would just put a price alert in there, forget about it, and maybe in a couple of days this thing goes off and it's right at the 10-period moving average. Some of you, okay, I'm just kind of going through, I'll go through more of these later and mark them up, but I'm just kind of showing you all the strength. Okay, remember the tape we're in, and look at all these stocks that are performing well. And surprisingly, there's quite a few of them. There's a lot of stocks here, and I don't even know if I have it on maximum record count. I'll have to go look, but one thing you may want to do is start from the bottom, maybe look at the stocks that were weak today. Okay, remember, they're above all of the moving averages. Maybe these are coming close to hitting one of their major moving averages, like this one. Maybe this comes back and you can catch this thing right at the 10-period moving average. You know, right around this 14 level. Also got like it's a small pivot level right there as well. Workhorse. Okay, I love the way this is setting up. Today, it tried to break out, a couple of strong days, beautiful looking chart there. Maybe this thing comes back to the 20 level. Maybe you can, or maybe put a price alert in right here. And don't worry, I'm going to share this with you so you can do some homework with it as well. But it's amazing sometimes, guys, if you just take the time to put these price alerts in, and next thing you know, they go off, and maybe the market's starting to bounce, and you can find yourself a really, really good entry. You know, this one right here broke out yesterday to a multi-month high, maybe even a, yeah, it looked like an all-time high. So maybe this thing comes back here to 40, this level right here. I'm going to go ahead and throw it in right there. Maybe some pain comes in tomorrow and people scare out. You got a nice little pivot level right here, right above its moving averages. That's not a... So anyway, this is a little scan you can do and I just showed you one. This is changed from the close. Okay, we could do score. Let's go ahead and sort by score. Get those ones with the highest score on top. Now, look at that. That's a very interesting one right now. You know, it's right here's its lifetime high. I don't know if that's an ADR or what, but anyway, it's a nice looking chart. You know, maybe some weakness comes tomorrow and you get this thing pulled down back to the 120 area. Just throw some price alerts in there, guys. And just when they, you know, I'm not saying when they go off to buy them. This is why I just don't throw buys in there. But if my price alerts does trigger, I look at the market. I'll see what's happening. Obviously, if we're in a spiral down, I'll back off and maybe just put another price alert in there for later or something. But I just don't jump in automatically. That's for sure. NLS, we looked at Reggie already. Nomad had a beautiful breakout today. Look at that. That's just textbook. All right, so here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to share this with you. I think you're going to find a lot of, well, you're definitely going to find some nice looking charts in here, because they're all going to be, oh, here's another one, Zoom. Look at this Zoom right here. Came down, hit the 10-period moving average, you know, after a huge earnings beat, mega gap up, bouncing off the 10-period moving average. Let's say we have some weakness tomorrow and this thing comes back to this 10-period moving average. I want to know about it, okay? And maybe it'll be right around, yeah, it should be right around there if it opens up and drives down. All right, so let me share this with you, okay? Make sure everything's working properly, live during market hours. That's the way you want it, because you want it to freeze, and so you can do your homework on it. So let me save and share this for you. And I'll drop it into the chat panel. So if you go to your GoToWebinar interface, I'll just put above SMA, and there is the code. All right, so you guys who are new in here, checking out the product for the first time, what I'm able to do is drop my code in there. Anybody who's a subscriber can grab that, and they have access immediately to this top list here. So, you know, it's a great way, you know, to find stocks that are holding up well. You know, unlike the composite rating, you are going to find obviously a lot of those in the composite rating, but you know, if you're looking at the Apples and the Facebooks and they're like breaking down, you know, maybe you want to look at something else, you know, for some opportunity. All right, let me talk about the trade of the week, because I think this is a very, very important topic. So the trade of the week is PLCE, Children's Place. Okay, and what I noticed, it was from a alert that I have that's called, and where'd it go? Geez, let me see here. It's called revenue growth fishing, and there you see it. All right, so I saw this on this day right here. Let me zoom out. I saw this on this day right here. This was coming through my alert, telling me that the stock is in a downtrend, but lately it's been showing signs of rebounding. That is by using a 10-day high. If it's in its top of its 10-day range, that tells me that, hey, keep an eye on this. It could be bouncing. You do have access to this also in the Trader's Vault. If you go to the Trader's Vault, you will find revenue growth fishing. So let's take a look at the market. Okay, this is on the second and the third, two positive up days. And the SPYs, here's your third, there's your second, there's your third. So on this day right here was just a horrendous day in the overall market. Yet Place, PLCE, had a good day. It was up all day, okay? Basically up all day, finished close to highs. That's what you call relative strength. Even though you look at the daily chart, there's nothing relative strength about it, but it was basically going against the grain. It was up on a very, very bad day. That tells me there's some serious buy-in going out. Another thing that kind of pointed me out, this was the day after earnings. It gapped down and basically closed in almost a spinning top there on huge volume, and really it didn't look back after that day. Tried to open down, but you know, so this could be a definitely a multi-month low. I don't know, time will tell, but I love the relative strength that this was displaying on a very bad tape. And so the trigger was above this high right here of 23.65. He may have stuck it in there at 23.70 or something like that. So anyway, this is active. It gave us a little scare yesterday for a little bit, but didn't get near or almost touched the 10-period moving average, and bounced and closed close to highs. I am in this. And I didn't get out today, even though it was really scary watching the market. But hey, this is still exhibiting very strong relative strength. Another very bad day in the market. You know, I think me personally, I probably don't want it to close below this 10 period moving average. A lot will depend on what the market's doing at the time, but I've seen over the last several days, this is not really carrying, what the market is doing. So that was the kind of the thinking behind the trade of the week. I can tell you this, in this tape, it's very, very difficult to pick a trade of the week some days, because we see the volatility coming in the market, a lot of big red days. A lot of times we will like to do cash, but I thought this was a very good one, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can get up here, and try to approach this 50-day moving average. That'd be really nice. Up here around 27, and I don't like saying this because it's really fallen from grace. I mean, you're looking at $120 stock at one time. I don't like doing that because I have no idea where the stock's going. And honestly, had it not been showing this relative strength, I probably wouldn't play something like this. And anytime I do play something like this, I'm looking for it to stay out of this little range it's breaking out of and not fall back in it. So this is why I don't want it to break this 10 period moving average, and really would like to stay above the 20 period moving average there. All right, Jamie, do I have any questions? I need to let's see. Andy, look and see.
I believe we're all caught up.
All caught up? Okay. Yes, Don. Yes, the columns make it easy. I think too many people, when they're building top list, I put very, very few filters. Obviously on this one, if I'm doing something where I want it above all the moving averages, I got to put all those filters in there. But keep it simple and use the power of because when you're sitting there doing your homework, there's so many things, maybe you want to see which one is close to its 10-day moving average. Well, I could sort by there, and I can go down to where 0 is, and I can find all the ones that are touching their 10-period moving average or very close to them. So there's just so many things you can do with the top list by using the powers of the columns. All right, let's see. Anything else? Chris, yes, Jamie got you. YouTube channel. If you signed up for our webinars, you should get a link emailed to you that will take you through the recordings, and the place it takes you will have pretty much a library of all of our training sessions, and so you can.
I'll drop the link. I'll drop the link to our YouTube channel in the chat.
There you go. There you go. Let's see. Do you have to be a pro to use your platform? No, not at all, Farshid. You don't have to at all. And this is why we provide you. As soon as you come in here, let's see. I want to make sure I saved everything. I did. Yeah, I did. Well, I'm not gonna. I'm afraid I have some stuff on here that I don't want to leave my default layout. But you have access to this channel where you can click in so many channels and get great alerts right off the bat. So I hate to say this, but some people, they come in here and that's all they do. They know we have a lot of great pre-configured alerts, so they just go straight to our pre-configured ones by using our channels. There's nothing wrong with that. I prefer people to get in here and work with it and start playing around with configurations, because you can really build customizable alerts and looking for stuff that you're looking for. And that's how you're really going to excel with the product. But there, if you're just looking for this Momo channel that we built recently is a great one for just momentum trading. And look for the little running man, Momentum. That's a great one. It has 3 alerts in there that or 3 windows that can be great for momentum trading. Yeah, you know what? We don't have a manual per se. What you do is you go into any configuration. Let me show you. Let's say you go into any configuration and you just go to the search, and let's say you want to go to volatility. And there's a little help button, and you'll find this on every search page. Just highlight something and go to help, and it's going to pull up like I said, it's not a manual, but it's going to explain. We have a definition in there for every alert that we have. Now, better than a manual, we have a getting started video that's an hour long that people that watch that say, oh man, it taught me. We have TI University, okay? It's just much better to do it with videos, is to train you and then just giving you a written manual, because you don't have a visual, you know. So we use videos, Derja, to help you out there. So use that. Jamie dropped the YouTube link in the channel there. So you go to our YouTube page and just go, you can go to videos and you can find all sorts of information in there. All right, let me see if I missed anything else. Yeah, some relative strength. It does. It makes total sense. If you just want to keep it simple, because you know you're out. I mean, if you're looking at things, you're looking at strong charts and above moving averages. Well, you can start bailing if they break one of those moving averages or break two of those moving averages, whatever, which one you want to use. But they're strong for a reason, you know. But all right, let me see. Is there a version of Holly that is intended more? You know what? We not yet. Jamie says we are something we're working on. We're having to kind of rebuild some scaffolding in the back office or in our servers, because it works on a different time frame than what we have in there. So we're working on it, but I'm sorry we don't have an ETA. I'm hoping, you know, I'm hoping soon, but I just can't throw a number out there. I'm sorry. You're welcome, Mike C. You are welcome. All right, guys, it looks like all the questions are in. I'm going to go ahead and bring Scott in, and he's going to walk us out. And hang on, he will provide you with a discount code for those who are interested. All right, Scott.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Thanks, Jamie. Yeah, a couple things just to hit up on the way out. Make sure you join the daily support sessions. It takes place at 12 Eastern. Just go to trade-ideas.com/live and use that link. I'd love to see you in there. Also, there's an ebook that's very helpful during earnings season. It's got some ways to use earnings season to your advantage and explains how, and provides some cloud links to add to your layout. So go to trade-ideas.com/earnings and grab that ebook and the cloud links and learn how to use them. Trade Ideas Podcast. We've had some good episodes out this year. Go ahead and search for Trade Ideas Podcast wherever you listen to your pods, and you'll be ready to catch the next one as soon as we add it. The code summertime will save you 15% off your first month or year of any Trade Ideas subscription or upgrade. So grab that code and use it. You can find Jamie on Twitter at QuantBot, or Steve Gomez is at Today Trader. We've also got at Trade Ideas and some other handles. Trade Ideas Pro is the Facebook handle to like and share stuff with your friends. And if you have any questions at all, just send them to the info@trade-ideas.com email address that goes into our help desk and gets you the help you need ASAP. All right, thanks, Andy and Jamie. Have a good one. We're going to have this recording up later on tonight or tomorrow, and send you an email reminder about where to find it.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, everybody. I'll see some of you on the support webinar. Make it if you can tomorrow.